Hi guys, welcome back. This is part 2 of the GameCube mods. So in part 1 we did the region mod. There's a link to that just above, and in this part 2, we're going to do the XeonGC chip install, which goes on the bottom of the drive unit like that and allows us to play backed up games. So the chip can be installed in two ways: directly onto the board with solder points or with short wires. We're going to do the short wire installation because it's actually a lot easier. It's a bit slower, but it's a lot easier. So we start off by taking our drive, which we've disassembled in the previous video, and just protect the laser. So I just put this piece of paper and sticky stuff across the plastic just to protect the laser lens while I turn it upside down, and then go ahead and take out all the screws on the bottom tray. So there is a couple of screws there. Once they're all out, the tray will just lift off and you're left with a nice exposed underside of the CD tray. Now look how small this chip is. It is quite small, and it has to go in a precise spot. So how this works, for those who've never seen it, there are actually holes cut in the chip itself, and you can actually solder through directly to the board. I personally find that a little, you can see how small the solder points are. I personally find this a little bit, I wouldn't say daunting, but a little bit challenging for people that have not soldered that much before in their life, because if you get this wrong, not only is the chip on the board, it's hard to get off, and you can't check your work. So these small pads under here and these small solder points are all covered up. So you kind of see where I'm going with that. You can, by all means, give it a go and solder through the chip if you feel confident. But what I'm going to do in this video is prepare the surface for soldering and use short wires to connect the points together. So I'm just giving the board a clean here, a bit of isopropyl alcohol to clean it all up, get it very nice. Get it in a clean condition for soldering. Of course, we use a bit of no clean flux, as always. Try and make a habit out of those two processes. A bit of isopropyl alcohol, a bit of no clean flux. And what I'm doing here is, my soldering iron went to sleep, so excuse that delay. What I'm doing was tinning up the pads in preparation for the wires. So you can go ahead and do that. I'd recommend it. Just put a little bit of solder on each of on the points. I'll flash up the points again on the screen in a second where you solder to. You tin up your points, and then you just go ahead and solder on some short wires. Now I've just cleaned up one pad here because I actually soldered or tinned up an incorrect pad. The solder just sort of bridged across. Does not matter. Just clean it up as you go. Now you can see the alignment is pretty good here. So these chips are made that you can actually just solder straight through, as I was saying. So I think it's wiser to use small wires in this case. And let me just get that prepared for you. So with just little 30 AWG size wires, that's 30. I like to just tin them up and solder them onto the pads, and worry about the length of the wires later. Leave it long initially until you get your placement correct, because we certainly don't want to put our mod chip over the top of these pads. That would just be like doing it direct solder. We want it long and spaghetti-like this. Then we can work out where to actually physically mount our chip. We might mount it off to the side here, or you can really mount it wherever you like. Actually, off to the bottom right, there's actually a very clean open part of the board, and that's what I've gone and done. I've just wired up a small strand of wire to each pad, and I've wired it offset a little bit. That way I can inspect my work, I can see what's going on, and I personally find the whole thing just a lot easier. When you're done, grab some sort of insulation, sort of tape, duct tape, or any sort of tape you like really. I would put some on the board and then another piece over the whole lot to adhere it down. and to put one more piece across the whole thing, which sort of just holds all the wires in place and gives it a bit of insulation from the bottom metal tray. So once that's in place, go ahead and refit the tray, put all your screws back in, and rebuild the console, put it all back together, which is quite straightforward. So let's give this a shot. I've actually installed a PAL game here on this Japanese GameCube. So if we look at the screen, which is off to my left here, and I'm just going to push the lid close switch. It'll read the disc, and normally this wouldn't work. It'd say, you know, incorrect or invalid game or something. And there you go. It's read the game, Legend of Zelda, and that's a PAL game on a Japanese GameCube, and that boots fine. So the chip does that. It's pretty straightforward, actually. So I'd recommend you just do that installation method and go from there. So there we have it. The GameCube is put back together. It's the nice Orange Spice Japanese edition. It's running English. It's running XeonGC. I don't have a matching controller for this one, but it's pretty good nonetheless. And it boots and plays copied games, backed up games, and pretty much anything you can throw at it, which, to be honest, is a must-have feature for any GameCube owner. So that's it, guys. Thanks so much for watching. I actually enjoyed making this one, so thanks again. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. I love reading the comments. Some are good, some bad, but they're quite funny. Go ahead and comment, and I'll see you on more videos in 2019.